In the complex world of modern supply chain operations, the absolute highest priority is meeting customer demand with zero friction. To measure that operational perfection, top-tier professionals rely on a specific metric, OTIF, or on time in full. Looking at this breakdown of the metric's purpose, the priority is measuring customer service performance. This evaluates the operation entirely from the buyer's perspective. By tracking this, organizations ensure daily reality aligns with formal customer expectations and legally binding service-level agreements. Across heavy manufacturing, global retail operations, and complex pharmaceuticals, this metric is the standard indicator of a perfect order. A supply chain infrastructure holds no real value unless it satisfies the customer's precise demands at the exact right moment. Understanding exactly how that perfect order is calculated requires looking at the strict two-part definition of the metric itself. As the definition here specifies, the first condition is on time. This means the successful delivery of goods precisely at the agreed-upon delivery date and time. The second requirement is in full, providing the exact correct quantity with absolutely no missing items. The logic connecting these two halves is vital. It is a mandatory and statement, not an or statement. Because of that structure, OTIF leaves no room for partial credit. It requires 100% compliance across both conditions to register as a success. This uncompromising nature is built directly into the mathematical formula. We divide the number of orders delivered on time and in full by the total number of orders. To see how this math operates in practice, we can evaluate a theoretical test case where a customer orders exactly 100 units of a product. In our first example, the supplier delivers all 100 units precisely on the promised date. The result is a perfect OTIF score of 100%. The delivery hit both variables exactly, satisfying the strict requirements of the formula. But consider example 2, delivering the full 100 units, but arriving exactly 1 day late. That triggers a failure condition. Failing the time condition nullifies the perfect fill rate. The score for this specific order drops to 0. Example 3 presents the inverse. The delivery arrives exactly on time, but contains only 95 out of the 100 requested units. Despite achieving a 95% fill rate, the logic of the metric assigns this order a total OTIF score of 0%. Example 4 evaluates an order that arrives late and is missing items. Under this metric, that represents a total failure across both variables. These 4 mathematical tests reveal how the pass-fail nature of the system operates. Delivering 99% of a customer's order on time still equals a 0% OTIF. The math guarantees a rigorous standard. To actively manage that standard, the metric must be deconstructed into its separate operational components. The first component is on-time delivery, or OTD. This variable represents the timing performance of the logistics network. The second component is fill rate, which measures order completeness and quantity accuracy. Looking at this structure, OTIF is timing performance multiplied by quantity accuracy. Multiplying these two percentages means the final score is inherently lower than the weakest individual performance. Any deficiency in one side of the equation pulls the total result down further. Successfully managing this metric requires leadership to control both the timing variable and the quantity variable simultaneously. Transportation speed cannot salvage a failing inventory strategy, and perfectly stocked warehouses are useless if the trucks are delayed. Moving past the isolated mathematical formulas, we can examine how this maps onto real-world operational execution. A common misconception across the industry is treating OTIF as a transportation or logistics metric. The Apex perspective defines OTIF as a measure of total supply chain synchronization. It treats the final delivery as the result of every preceding department working in unison. This synchronization starts with the first upstream driver, demand forecasting accuracy. That forecast drives the requirement of maintaining inventory availability. Inventory only exists if manufacturing achieves strict production reliability. Finally, the execution drivers take over, transportation performance and order processing accuracy. When manned this way, a delivery failure at the customer's loading dock reveals itself as a visible symptom of a disconnect occurring further up the chain, whether in production or initial forecasting. Because the standard is so demanding, organizations frequently fall into operational traps when tracking it, which can destroy the value of the data. Looking at these common mistakes, a major error is measuring internally, logging a success the moment a truck leaves the warehouse, rather than when the customer receives the product. An even more dangerous trap is active gaming of the metric. This occurs with managers artificially inflate promised delivery dates, adding days of buffer just to ensure the final report looks successful on paper. Deliberately ignoring partial shipments or manually overriding shortages in the system similarly corrupts the integrity of the data. Manipulating these variables to protect internal egos destroys the metric's single purpose, reflecting the raw truth of the customer experience. To avoid these traps, advanced strategy requires shifting focus from measuring outcomes to managing inputs. Structurally, OTIF is a lagging indicator, an autopsy showing the outcome after the opportunity for intervention has passed. Watching only this means measuring failure instead of actively preventing it. Instead, manage proactive leading indicators, closely tracking forecast accuracy, production adherence, and inventory availability. You simply cannot directly manage a lagging output. You can only control the leading inputs that create it. Ultimately, the formula for supply chain success is uncompromising, delivering the right product in the right quantity at the exact right time. This leaves us with a coaching question. If your dashboard shows OTIF dropping, where exactly do you begin your root cause investigation? Achieving the perfect order is never a happy accident. It is the calculated result of rigorous, end-to-end operational excellence.